Together. We're going to have such an amazing time here today. I would like to welcome everyone to the WIMBIZ February Roundtable meeting event. Please, a round of applause to you and to everyone online. Please give yourselves a round of applause. It's going to be such an impactful meeting, I can assure you. I'd like to first of all introduce myself. I am Chidinma. People call me Chidi. So please, when you want to post me, you could just say Chidi or Senator, whichever works for you, right? But trust me, we will have such an amazing time. I'd like to take this time to recognize the presence of everyone here. Thank you so much for coming. And I also like to recognize our online attendees. Please give yourselves a round of applause. I hope your clap emojis should be going up right now. All right. We are starting right about now. All right. Today's event, today's topic, it's like none other. It's one that is needed for this time. It's one that is often overlooked, not talked about. I mean, everybody just goes around their day, you know. This topic, so critical, but overlooked. And I am so grateful to the team at WIMBIZ who thought that this was necessary and for bringing it to the fore. I'm very, very certain that everyone who's attending this event, both on-site and online, will leave here gleaning such insights that will be useful in their everyday life, like every day. All right, because we talk about emotional stress. We talk about stress. I mean, everybody is stressed in Nigeria already. So, when is the best time to talk about emotional and reproductive health than this time? It has become so important. And this topic, we are going to be exploring it. I mean, you don't want to know the speakers in the house today. You will be screaming already because these are legends. We literally brought legends to come and do a deep dive, do justice to this very important topic. All right, so we have a curated lineup of speakers, the best in the field. I'm talking about experts. I'm talking about legends. When they come up, you understand why I'm talking this way. You would be excited. You'll be happy you are here today. You are partaking and participating in this event today. It is one that, this is one for the records. It's one that you will look back in time and you said, oh, they talked about this somewhere. I learned this. I'm implementing this. So you're living here with strategies that you will start implementing from today. You live here with insights, that you're going to start sharing with others from this moment. All right, so we'll be going right into it, right? Are you with me? Great, thank you. All right, those online, we would like to know where you're joining us from. We would like to know your location. Please do drop those locations right now. We are seeing them. And if you can't, drop your LinkedIn handles as well. Let's start the networking immediately as well. All right. Please give it up for our online attendees. Thank you. Before I even go on, I would like to ask maybe one or two people, what they are looking forward to in this event. What they want to pick up, what they want to learn, I will just take two. And that will spoil others. It will spoil your expectation. So that if you haven't come here, all right, expecting anything, you will get ready. All right, you will prepare your mind, on what you want to take out from the insights that will be thrown out here today. So, two people, any volunteers? Great. Thank you so much. Pass the mic to her. To that beautiful lady in white. Thank you. You're pretty, by the way. Yes, you can stand. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Osazuwa Chigbo. I've always wanted to meet Dr. Of St. Ives, and I know one of my pastors wanted to hook us up and everything. I just want some sort of demystification of the woman's reproductive system. I mean, is there, like, to me, I just feel like there's an agenda, because there's so many people waiting, through this process, and the human system is just, the woman's system is just kind of complicated. So many things, yeah? So many things. This one, that one, the fibroid, it's a lot, so I'm happy to be here. I couldn't have missed it for anything.
Wow. A round of applause for her. Is somebody being spoiled right now? So who else wants to share? Who else wants to share? Oh, beautiful. Please pass the mic to that beautiful sister.
Thank you so much. I love what you said. Like, also, the area of emotional wellness, I would like to know, how do we build resilience with all the buzz going on? How do you keep it going? How do you push and still be sane amidst everything? I'm excited about that. I would like to know more on building emotional wellness. Thank you.
Wow, a round of applause for her. So who is excited to be here today? I am. If you are excited, please just raise the roof. Thank you. Thank you so very much. At this point, this event is being brought to us by WIMBIZ. A round of applause for the amazing stuff WIMBIZ is doing in our nation. For those of you who do not know who WIMBIZ is, you might think it's a new brand of shoe or bag. Okay, so WIMBIZ is short for Women in Management, Business and Public Service. It's a non-profit organization with over 24 years of uninterrupted impact. Please, their advocacy for, women rights, inclusion, has over the years seen women being showcased. Women are coming out. We are being emboldened, even in the political sphere, in the business sphere. We are taking the lead everywhere. And all thanks to WIMBIZ and the vision from the founders. And, taking these over the years, they have been on it. It's a great job WIMBIZ is doing. So thank you for bringing this event to us. And, because it's an NGO, a non-profit, somebody has to sponsor. Somebody has to sponsor. And today's sponsor is none other than the foremost, St. Ives. When you talk about women health, who else are you going to be talking about? This event is being sponsored by St. Ives Hospital, Specialist Hospital. They've been in existence for close to 3 decades with over 4,000 successful IVFs. I'm not talking about normal birth. So please, you can feel free to call them the baby machines. They are popping babies. It's raining babies in St. Ives. I want to say a big thank you to the St. Ives team for, sponsoring today's very important event. It is one that would impact women, like Dr. Osazuwa told me backstage. Ministry of Women. That's it. It would impact every one of us, and leave us better, better people, and we will better manage our reproductive health and our emotional health as well. All right, I'm sure we have set the tone for today. So who is ready? All right. Before we go on, I would like to make welcome for the opening remarks the Chairman, Board of Trustees, WIMBIZ, is no other person than BC Adeyemi. Please make it louder.
Thank you very much, Chidi. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. And to our online audience as well. I mean, this day has been long coming. We wanted to do this last year, I think, but somehow we just couldn't get to do it. So I'm happy that we're doing it today. And the two people that spoke, I'm also excited. I would like to hear from the guru himself, as I call him, St. Ives Baby Factory, as been said. Another round of applause for St. Ives. Like Chidi said, we might desire to do this at WIMBIZ, but without our sponsors, really and truly, we'll not be able to. So what's the link between emotional wellness and fertility? I think it's important that connection is made. So sometimes people worry. I'm not a doctor, and I don't make any pretense about that, but sometimes people wonder that, they worry a lot. So the act of worrying itself brings a lot of stress on the body, and that stress itself might somehow, like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I think logically, just thinking about it, if you are stressed, your body might not even be in a state of even being reproductive. I don't know. So I'm expecting that our experts would tell us a bit about that. But why are we talking about it at this time? Like Chidi has said, there's a lot of stress in the environment. But I also think that it's possible to not allow the stressors to stress you. So I'm expecting our experts this morning to sort of share some tips on how we can live a stress-free life in the midst of all that is going on around us. But I'm not the expert, so I'm going to allow the experts to do so. But I will not leave without a word of thanks to our sponsors again, St. Ives Hospital. Like I said, we've been wanting to do this for a while, and it has come to pass. And I hope that at the end of today, we'll all thank St. Ives again for the generous sponsorship. The Ede will say a few things about WIMBIZ later, but I would just like to emphasize one or two things. We inspire, we empower, and we ensure that women reach the very heights. Whatever profession you're in, whatever sphere of life you're in, you definitely are in the right place with WIMBIZ. So without much ado, I would like to thank, in particular, Dr. Babatunde Okewale, the GMD of St. Ives, Dr. Osazuwa Ede-Edokpolor, Medical Director, St. Ives, Olayinka Opaleye, Chief Wellness Officer. Is she here? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We look forward to listening to you and ensuring that we get the connection between emotional wellness and fertility. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the morning and afternoon. Thank you.
That applause can be loud, I tell you. Exactly. Thank you very much, Chairman Ma. She mentioned the three things WIMBIZ is known for: inspire, empower, and help women attain to that height. And part of it is what we're learning today. If you're able to master this, emotional wellness, reproductive health, nothing is stopping you from getting to that very height. Who is with me? Yeah, I agree absolutely. All right. Who is excited? I'm excited. We are getting right into it. Our online attendees, please, we'd like feedback from you. We'd like those love emojis, clap, do something to show that you're with us here. All right. So we'll get right into it. At this point, I would like to bring on our speakers. We are getting into the meat of the matter without, much ado. We have a lineup. When I tell you the legends are in the house, they literally are right now. All right, and our first speaker is a living legend in reproductive health. I like to say that. He's not just a doctor. I don't know how he does it. He's not just a doctor. He's an on-air personality. Who can be that? He's an author. He's a speaker. He's literally the Joseph in the Bible with a coat of many colors. And he's wearing it very elegantly. This morning, I would like for you to join me in welcoming our first speaker, Dr. Babatunde Okewale, the chairman, Chief Medical Director of St. Ives Specialist Hospital. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chidi. Good morning, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here this morning and to be able to share some fertility perspectives. I thank the chairman, the board, and the members of WIMBIZ for giving me this opportunity today. I thank my St. Ives team for also putting everything together so that all I had to do was just walk in here. Yes, the garment I'm going to wear today is the garment of a fertility advocate, not an on-air personality. Yeah. I'll quickly run through it. I have only 20 minutes, and I would hope that I would impact as much as possible within that 20 minutes. Infertility, what's the definition? You say someone is infertile if they've been trying to get pregnant for 1 year and they've been having unprotected regular intercourse for that 1 year. Now, the key issues there are 1 year unprotected intercourse, and it has to be regular. Now, what do I mean by that? I've seen couples who live, the husband is in Nigeria and the wife is in the UK, and they are complaining of infertility, and they see maybe once a year. So you will see that they would have not fulfilled that definition of regular unprotected intercourse. Now, if you see 4 couples, 1 in every 4 are suffering from infertility. And that's quite disturbing because it never used to be like that in the past. And the question is, why the sudden increase in infertility generally worldwide, and especially in Nigeria at this present time? I remember at the times of our parents and grandparents, the incidence of infertility is far and in between, But these days, see 4 couples, 1 will be complaining of infertility. So why this sudden increase? I'll quickly run through some of the causes so that we can learn from that. The number 1 reason is urbanization. It's been found that those of us that live in the cities are suffering more from infertility than those living in the villages. So why urbanization? There are certain things that happen in the urban centers. We have things like pollution, especially industrial pollution, from smoke, either from the industries, from the multiple generating sets we all have in our houses, to cigarette smoking. And it's been found that this pollution affects sperm counts. In fact, the male sperm count has been increasingly decreasing over the years among couples. So that's number 1, pollution. The number 2 thing that happens in urbanization is chemical exposure. Now, there are certain chemicals that are not good for the reproductive health. Things like pesticides. And there's an indiscriminate use of pesticides in our society as well. And there are also some solvents that are used in specific industries, like the plastic industry and also the printing industries, that are harmful to the reproductive organ. They reduce the sperm count, they reduce ovulation in women. And the unfortunate thing is our town planners mix everybody up in the urban center. You can have a printing press or a printing industry next to a residential estate. And what more? Some of the waste products from these companies are disposed of indiscriminately in such a way that they contaminate the public water system, even our boreholes, because they go into the ground. And so those are another thing that increases infertility. Now, the stress of living in an urban center. Imagine a couple that they have to leave the house maybe 4 or 5 in the morning, go to work on the island, and they are not returning back till 11, 12 at night. Obviously, sex will be the last thing at the back of their mind because they are already thinking of the next day. So the stress of living in the urban center decreases libido. Not only that, it also decreases intra-marriage harmony. I mean, you are always stressed out, arguing and whatnot. The other thing, again, still talking about this urbanization, is career orientation. There's never been a time in the history of the world where women are working the way they are working in the present day and age. And they are increasingly becoming the breadwinners in the family as well. Now, which brings me to the next thing, late settlement in life and marriage. So because of this, a lot of women are getting married at a later age in life. Now, in the days of our parents and grandparents, in your 20s, 24, you're already married. You know. But these days, you find people getting married at the age of 35, 40, and it's not that they don't want to get married. It's because they need the economic empowerment. You know, so late marriage and late settlement in life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Age. Age is a critical factor in getting pregnant for women. As a woman grows older, the quality and the quantity of her eggs starts to drop. The best time for a woman to get pregnant is between age 20 to 30. From age 30, the egg starts dropping at a fast rate, such that by 35, for most women, it becomes increasingly difficult to achieve pregnancy. So the younger you are, the better. So, and that's a critical thing if somebody is now getting married late in life, you know. So infertility rears its head. I'll quickly run through the other one so that I can go to the next topic. I have only 20 minutes. Infection. Infection is very common in our environment these days. The kind of infection we have in the past, gonorrheas and the rest, everybody knows about them. It's easily treatable. But the present type of bacteria that affects couples is called chlamydia. It's a dangerous sexually transmitted disease. And the reason is it doesn't give any sign. If you have it, you might not even know. By the time you are aware, it's destroyed the tubes and it's destroyed the female genital organs. So that's another thing. One of the last things I'll quickly talk in this aspect of why the sudden increase in infertility is lifestyle, our lifestyle. I watched some videos that was shot in America in the 70s. And what struck me was how fit everybody looked in that video. They were wearing their bell bottom, dancing the discos. Everybody seemed slim. But something happened in the world between the 70s and now. The explosion of fast food industry. Now, if you look at that kind of video in America now, what you see are obese people, people who are overweight, people who have chronic illnesses, diabetes, hypertension, and this has been exported to every part of the world as we talk now. So weight is a big issue in fertility. Anyone that's their body mass index is above 30 risk having polycystic ovarian syndrome. And what polycystic ovarian syndrome does is it reduces ovulation. So it's a vicious cycle. So part of what anyone who is trying to get pregnant should do is to try and lose weight and live healthily. The cost of advanced fertility treatment like IVF and the rest are out of reach of many people. And finally, to leave this particular aspect is religious dogmatism. Religious dogmatism. Prayer and seeking medical help should not be mutually exclusive, please. If you think you're suffering from infertility, you're not getting pregnant in time, pray, but also see your doctor. Both tend to work better than just tilting in the side of only prayer. And the problem with that is there's some people that feel that seeing a doctor affects their faith. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And the danger is, for a lot of women, you are now seeing them in their 40s, after a lifelong of prayer, before they are seeking medical help. And by that time, it's sometimes a little bit too late. Now, somebody might ask me, so if I want to quickly get pregnant, what do I need to do? There are basically 5 requirements for achieving pregnancy naturally, and I'll quickly reel through them. The first requirement is the sperm of your husband. It must be of good quality, and it must be of good quantity. That's the number 1 requirement. The second requirement is the woman must be seeing her period regularly every month. The third requirement is, and the reason for seeing it regularly every month is she can calculate her fertile period. The third requirement is the inside of the womb must be able to accept and be able to keep a pregnancy. There shouldn't be any fibroids in there, any polyp, any adhesions, any scar tissues, any infection, or anything that might disrupt pregnancy inside the womb. The fourth requirement is the fallopian tubes must be open so that the eggs that are formed on the ovary can enter the tube and meet with the sperm. And then finally, the woman must be producing quality eggs every month. Now, if you see any woman who had gotten pregnant naturally, what it means is those 5 things I just mentioned happened together in that particular month. If you look at the reverse of just what I've said, the essence of any investigation for infertility is just to check those 5 things as quickly as possible. And the things you need to check are 6 in number. You do a vaginal scan. What that is going to show you is the womb. And it will show that the womb is okay, there are no fibroids, there are no polyps, and the rest. The second thing is you do a swab test to be sure there are no infection in the passageway. If there's anything like that, you treat it off. The third thing is to do a blood hormone test. Blood hormone test. What the blood hormone test tells us is about the ovary. It tells us about the ovarian reserve. How much egg is still on the ovary? What are the quality of the eggs on the ovary? The fourth requirement, the fourth investigation is the sperm of the husband, your husband. The fifth thing are just screening tests between you and your husband. You want to know your blood group, your genotype, HIV status, hepatitis, etc. And then lastly, you want to do a test that will check from your cervix up to your tubes and make sure that passageway is free. It could be either sonohysterogram or what we call an HSG. Now, you will see straight away, from those 6 tests, you will have an answer to those 5 requirements I mentioned. And the good thing about this is, all those 6 tests can be done in a day or 2. and you would have an answer within a week. Again, the tragedy is, in many hospitals, they draw out those investigations over months and years in such a way that patients get tired. So what I'm saying is, if you think you're suffering from infertility, all those tests can be done within a day or two, and you would have an answer within a week. So you know exactly what the problem is, or whether there's no problem, in which case you will be much more reassured that there's nothing wrong with you. Now, sometimes I'm asked that what's the big noise about fertility? After all, fertility is just a problem between a husband and a wife. You know, it's not as if it's going to kill them. Why should government even be interested in fertility? Yeah, I do hear that a lot. And the truth of the matter is, yes, infertility might not cause physical illness. It might not be an immediate danger to health, like you would say diabetes or hypertension is. But it has more to do with the mental, and it is a social issue as well. Now, the governments of the countries that understand this, what they do presently is they subsidize fertility treatment. Fertility goes beyond husband and wife. It goes on into community. It goes on to extended families. Infertility causes separation in a marriage. It causes divorce. It causes infidelity. It causes adultery. It causes illegitimate children. It causes children out of wedlock. You know, it causes third-party sex. What I mean by third-party sex is, the marriage is supposed to be between a husband and a wife. So a third person gets involved in the search for, to try and get pregnant. And what we are seeing frequently again is, immediately there's an infertility issue in a family. And especially if it affects the man. Let's say the man has a low sperm count or no sperm count. There's a denial aspect to it because of our culture. And there's always a predator somewhere there outside, a woman, who understands what's going on in the family. And we have seen situations where the husband suddenly comes one day and says, somebody has gotten pregnant for me. The predator gets pregnant. He knows what the problem is in the house. And the woman and the wife in the house, who knows the husband is the main cause of the problem, rejects the woman outside, and it becomes a DNA issue. And most of the time, it's not the couple's children that has been given in time. So it causes a lot of social issue, and it could result in depression. I've seen quite a lot of people that are depressed and whatnot. So whenever anybody asks that question again, what's the big deal about infertility? There is really a big deal about it. And the World Health Organization has now recognized these other aspects of infertility, that is the mental and social issue, and they have declared infertility a disease on its own, standing on its own. And so every government in the world right now, every serious government in the world now takes infertility serious, because they know it's more than just a couple issue. They subsidize it. And I think I might have to stop here so that I can give other people an opportunity, and so that we can have proper question and answer later on. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for Dr. Okewale. How many of us do not want him to stop? How many want him to continue? I don't think I've learned enough. That was such an eye-opening. It was both eye-opening, it was both insightful, It was both educative. Who agrees with me? Wow. So who thinks there's a big deal with infertility? For it to be WHO classified as a disease, then it's a big, big deal. I hope you're jotting those questions down. Please note them. We will have a robust time for question and answer. And while this session is going on, we have free health screening out there. All right. The St. Ives team have graciously, please a round of applause for them once again, decided to offer free screening with a doctor on duty. With drugs to go with it. Can it get any better? Thank you so much, Dr. Okewale and team. Thank you so very much. Wow. I mean, the first one was a hit. We are going in. We are digging it deeper. This time I'm bringing the Minister of Women Affairs. From the baby factory. Please join me to welcome our second speaker, Dr. Osazuwa, Ede-Edokpolor, the Medical Director of St. Ives Specialist Hospital, as he takes us to the next level. Thank you.
Can we put hands together for the organizer? Put hands together. I want to use the opportunity to appreciate my teacher, my mentor, the one that has trained me to the level which I have gotten to. Put your hands together for my teacher, Dr. Okewale. Thank you very much. He has done so much for women, and by the special grace of God, we have like 3,000 deliveries, live births. Can we appreciate him for that? These are people that were rejected. These are people that would think everything has ended, but they suddenly come across us and their life changed forever. I'm just pray that God in his infinite mercy should keep you for us and you'll become a blessing to many people as time goes on. So that make my life a bit easier. So don't forget that in the midst of discussing conception and discussing fertility and trying to get pregnant, these women that will take care of undergoes a lot of stress. Is it not true? Yes. And these are what we call emotional stress. So when you are exposed to some stress, the thing directly affects your social life. Now, things that you are exposed to are called what? Stressors. These are called stressors. Now there are different parts of the reproductive life. Now, WHO was defining reproductive health as the state of physical, mental, social, and in all aspects of all our reproductive life. So, because women go through a lot of things in their reproductive life, and the way they are functioned, so they are exposed to a lot of what? Stress. I'll give you an example. For instance, a couple, if the couple is not pregnant, let me ask, who do they blame first? Even if the man is not producing any sperm, who would the mother-in-law blame? Are you sure? Who would they ask to produce the child? Sir, who come to the hospital first? So you can see that women undergo a lot of stress that naturally affect their life. So stressors are the thing that the women are exposed to. Now, when they are exposed to it, this thing now affects their what? Their life. Okay? Now, let's look at it from that one. Now, from what are these stressors that these women are exposed to? Now, there was a popular advert, Mama na boy. How many of you know that advert? Is that advert not discriminatory? Mama na girl. Is that fair? Yes. But it was Mama na what? Boy. But I will still use MTN anyway. There, my friends. So from the news that a woman is born, psychologically, the news doesn't sound so well. So that is why you see people, women naturally, from the beginning, from the birth, they are usually exposed to a lot of what? Stress. And this stress affects their what? Their emotions. And when it affects their emotions, what you are not going to have, if you don't manage this stress properly, you are going to have a woman who now begin to have what? Depression, and begin to pass through some what? Challenge, and begin to end into different vices. Now, what are these stressors that we see? Now, from the news, now, boy, So now boy, that implies that there's already a discrimination against what? A female. Now, we'll now go ahead. Now, there are some physiological things that naturally happen to women that we don't see in men. And this poses a lot of stress on women. This naturally affects their what? Emotions. Now, let me begin to look. Now, from birth, from the news. Now, from the second one, which is what? Female what? Genital what? Mutilation. People do circumcisions of women. Is that right? No. They do a lot of cutting. There are gishiri cuts. There are a lot of cuts. And these are usually very traumatic to our women. Even when they are going to give birth, these are what? Issues that we normally pass through, when women pass through. And the way these women do the cutting can be very what? Amazing. So now we'll now move ahead. As this woman maybe coming so like this little lady that is coming, she's prone to a lot of what? Social what? Vices. The issue of rape. I have one patient, one of my I won't say a patient, a sister or a friend of mine, who was raped at the age of 14. And I was meeting her at the age of 48. I said, Madam, what is the issue? Are you married? Say she's not married. Say, why? She's afraid of what? Men. These are emotional things that women go through. So having this at the back of our mind, what other things that these women go through? Sometimes too, when these are sisters, that's why we're not looking at it generally, we're looking at it generally, holistically as you begin to climb as a woman. To tell you that you, with all the stress in Nigeria, but the fact that you're also a woman, you're also prone to a lot of what? Stress. You're also prone to a lot of emotional issues. Now, as the woman begins to grow in her reproductive life, now what now happens? Sometimes too, some of them engage in what we call what? Unsafe sex. And these patients and these ladies get pregnant. Now, how do community, churches respond to people who are pregnant? Excommunicate. You take this child away, the child now decides to do what he wants to do. Then, some of them will go and want to procreate what? On unsafe what? An abortion. And when they go for these unsafe abortions, and they are not going to present to us, because some of us are also very, very, very what? We castigate these little girls. And it's unfair. Because any of us can be what? In that shoe. Now they now meet somebody who doesn't know how to carry out the procedure. What is going to happen is going to damage our womb. It's going to damage our endometrium. At the end of the day, if not properly managed, this patient is still going to come back with secondary what? Infertility. Never, I tell people, never victimize the what? The victim. Never. Never. Irrespective of your religious background. We know it's unsafe to carry out abortion. But there's what we call post-abortal what? Care. So let me move very fast. I know time is going. So as this child also grow on. Now, as you get to your reproductive, you are not married. Stress. Is it not true? Yes. Then that is the time you now begin to think of things that, oh, you are not married. Oh, fantastic, good. The issue of fibroid will now what? Come. And the problem I have is that some people have fibroids. Some doctors who are not very experienced go ahead and operate this patient, even when it's not necessary. What do? They operate this patient, and sometimes they complicate their life. That's why you see some women say, I had fibroid when I was 26. Now she cannot conceive again. Even when the fibroid, I have had so many patients, even when the fibroid is not symptomatic. Leave this little woman alone. They will know, no, man, you benefit from mamectomy. The next thing you're going to do, bam, either they bleed the patient to death on the table, or they end up with a long-time what? Complication. And when you are not getting pregnant, you are looking for marriage. When you get married in 2, 3 years or 5 years, there's an issue. So when I tell people is that, oh, there is fibroid, fantastic. Is this symptomatic? Yes. No. Please leave your fibroid alone. Go and get married. When you are married, come back. I don't normally advise. They called me in one church and they said, oh, they are doing one outreach. They want to remove fibroid for people. I said, Madam, I said, oh God of Nazareth, a church. A church. And I asked the owner of the church, why can't you go and bring your own sister or your brother? Let them go and operate them as an outreach. Then at the end of the day, you now get people who are not professional enough to operate on this patient. And when they do, they complicate. And when they complicate, this one now impact on this woman's what? Life. And at the end of the day, they will come back, they are not going to conceive, and there are issues. So as we begin to go on in life, issue of fibroids, sexually transmitted diseases are also there. STIs that also affect infertility. This poses a lot of emotional stress on our women. Then, as you also get a bit older, whether you like it or not, you are a woman. If you're a woman, you have reproductive tract, you have your womb, you have your uterus, your hormones will begin to what? Calm down. And if your hormones do calm down, what's going to happen? You begin to have something that looks like what? Hot flushes. Whether you like it or not, or get old. You know, somebody already know the answer. Menopause. Okay, so good. You're not going to have what we call menopause. That means there's menstruation as what? Pause. Okay? So, these are things that poses so much stress on women. So, when you look at them, you now begin to see, oh, your husband who lost you before, there's no vaginal dryness. The man now begin to look other direction. Is that fair? No. Is it because can we say, is God fair to the women? Yes. Because he's a complete God. Okay? So, these are challenges that women go through that poses them that affect their emotional life. And if not well managed, these women can have what we call what? Depression. Now, so when these women are exposed to this kind of stress, if not managed properly, what we are not going to be seeing that, you now begin to see, sometimes my MD are talking about divorce, but people are talking about some men looking out toward that direction for comfort, some children, the most important is the children, the adolescents, who by virtue, that's why you must protect your adolescent child. Don't ever say that, it doesn't happen. This kind of thing has never happened in my family. It's an abomination. No. You have not finished this world. You don't know what will happen what? Tomorrow. Nobody ever think. I have told my people, my life, I don't compete. It's not my portion. I know. But it has happened. Solve the problem. It has happened. Solve the problem. Don't send our adolescents outside, please. They are going to, at the end of the day, you traumatize them, and they meet wrong people, and they now end into different vices. So, knowing that, there are also things that we do culturally that are also not right. Just have 5 minutes more? About 10 minutes more, so I'm not looking at my time. So, there are also cultural things that we do in life, too, that are also not right. Thank God the legislature, they are working very hard now, the advocates for women. If it's also these fellow women too, they also shave their fellow widow's head. True or false? Yes. You crepe her hair. You use the water to bath. Say, go and drink the water. Widow's rights, cultural, things that doesn't have any basis. You are exposing our women to a lot of emotional stress, which is not fair. Fellow women, you know where they came from, all those parts of the world. Everybody have their own. Then the issue of that, I must give birth to a boy by all means. By all means. Somebody called me once at a time, said, "Doctor, I know you're a very good doctor. Yes, I want to give birth to a boy." I told the person, I said, I could not help myself. I have 3 girls, I'm happy. I'm happy. So I will not come and kill myself. I cannot. I'm happy. So I cannot. So sometimes, we put so much stress on ourselves that we must give birth to a boy by all means. Boy that you are not going to take to heaven. You're not taking that boy to heaven. You are going to go on your own. So much stress. So you say, you put so much stress, and this thing now begin to affect your emotional life. Then we'll now also look at the issue of some part of Nigeria where there's also teenage pregnancy. Teenage pregnancy. I don't understand the dynamics of teenage pregnancy. You are 80-something. You are looking for 18 years old. It's not balanced. Leave the children. You're not Solomon. So these are challenges that women go through. They will not talk about female genital mutilation, which we have talked about. Legislature, the House of Rep are actually working very hard on widows' rights, female circumcision. If they catch you, they put you in prison. Simple. If you like, tell me that you are from Igbo, let them come and drink. They will shave your head too. Put you in prison. So there's so much advocacy against widows' rights. There's so much advocacy against female genital mutilation. Then we'll now talk about religion. Wife, submit yourself to your husband. Why must be the wife to submit? Why not the woman? Why not the man? Religion. It's supposed to be complementary. No one is bigger than each other. All of us are all the same in the face of what? God, there's another Greek or what? Gentiles. No, submit yourself. You'll be submitting. Some of you went to work. You came back. Who's going to enter the kitchen? The woman. Who's going to take the baby to school? The woman. And you went to work at the same time. When you go and solve the problem, the pastor will tell you are not submissive. Scatter your home. Are we following? So you're not submissive. I begin to wonder. The man will not be doing as if he knows what he's doing, whereas the man doesn't even go to work. And the pastor is telling you to submit to somebody that doesn't go to work. I don't understand. Are we following at all? This poses so much stress on women. Then the issue of contraception. See, some religious sector that don't believe in contraception. You are not related to Abraham. Even Abraham has one child. It's Isaac. So you give birth to first, give birth to second, give birth to third, fourth, fifth. Bah, is it not too much? That's too much. It's too much. So issue of contraception, some religions don't believe in contraception. You'll be telling them, say no, they don't believe. They don't want to have contraception. And we know them when they come around. They will not talk about the issue of contraception is something that they will not talk about the issue of blood transfusion. Religion setting. You are coming for a procedure and you need to be transfused. I was in my air, I was even weeping. I was crying and crying. Why was I crying? A patient came. We were running the test kit to get blood for the person. We were running. The man just stood still. He said, I am Joel, please don't transfuse me. In our presence, the woman died. And the man will go and marry another woman. See, maybe the man is even tired of the woman. I used to attend that I escape. You can see that women naturally are prone to a lot of what? Stress, emotional stress. Now, what are not the effects? Are we following at all? I will round up now. Are we following at all? What are not the effects of this stress on these women? Now, apart from the stress we are going through, because we are going through those emotional stress, so what is not going to happen to you? Your other part of your body will not be what? Affected. That's why you begin to say, oh, you are not going to eat. You are depressed. Your immunity has gone down. You are even prone to cancer because you are exposed to this type of stress. Cancer of the breast. Cancer of the colon. When you are exposed to stress, your immunity has gone down. I don't want to go into the pathology. The cytokines that are coming down. But don't bother about that. But it's there. Then sometimes even your cardiovascular system is affected. That's why you have a woman who just come and say the woman has collapsed. You went to a party and you danced. You were not sick, nothing. You just collapsed. Because you are being undergoing so much stress that are beating your body over time that is causing a lot of spasm in your brain. You're going to have stroke. You're going to have myocardial infarction. And what you're going to say is death. You know, say you have not committed any crime. Why is this thing happening to you? Because your mind is not at rest. Your husband is not allowed to rest. Your in-laws are not allowed to rest. Your churches are not allowed to rest. Where will you take your matter to? Bring it to Dr. Okewale. Bring it to Dr. Okewale. Because I have seen a lot of, even when the man has no single sperm, the mother-in-law is blaming the what? The wife. So now this thing will not ripple. At the end of the day, if you don't also manage with them, you now have a woman that is normal, that now begin to have psychiatric problems. You now begin to have what we call depression. You are giving the person assignment, you cannot concentrate, you cannot do anything. Now that this thing exists, what will you now do? How can we take care of people emotional illness? One of the things you must do is that you must know that tomorrow is always better than what? Today. Be hopeful. Be positive. And don't forget your brothers, your sisters. Sometimes you poke so much into yourself. You have your brother, you have your sister, you have Dr. Okewale. If you cannot see him, you can come through Teledoc. If you are living far Abuja or anywhere they are living, just go on Teledoc. Dr. Calme will appear 5 times. If you go you want, they will appear 5 times. Teledoc, I've been where? Teledoc, yes. If you do not see, you will see my face too, and I will solve your problem. You don't even need to look for him. You can't go look for him. You will not even see him because he will be somewhere inside the theater. But you can see him on Teledoc 24 hours. And you can see him 24 hours, but me, I can see him 12 hours. Because I don't want to take responsibility. So, seek professional. There are professionals that knows what to do. fact, sometimes most of you take your problem to your pastor. The pastor cannot solve your problem. I'm telling you, clinical problem. You can always pray. God can answer you. And God will answer your pastor. God can also what? Answer you. So seek professionals. If you have emotional issues, seek professionals. If you have fertility issues, seek professionals. Don't go to quack. That's the problem I do have. My MD, I'm talking about fertility and co. But at the same time, most of us present in a quack fest. Then at the end of the day, we'll not get to like 40. They will not come in. And it becomes too stressful for us. We're not going to cancel you. Some men know that they don't have space. Instead of them to seek professionals, they will go and be taking everything. They finish all their goals in Nigeria before they let some come with liver disease. So seek professionals. And your family support is very important. Let's show that your families are. They don't let them go otherwise. When they are, you look for the good ones. There are some terrible family members, so push those ones away. Look for the God will show you the good ones. So, what is this one? Not the one that will cancel and put in trouble. I'm rounding up now. Look for the good ones. So you need a lot of support. And you have to be positive. Sometimes you smile. I tell people smile. Sometimes I know that sometimes when I get angry, I can say anything. Most of the time, I'm always laughing. So that I will not go and enter trouble. I'm always laughing, I'm always smiling. So you smile and make sure that everything is fine. Then the other thing you have to do is that if you know how to meditate, meditation and yoga, there's a professional that came to in that other program. They will tell you what to do. I can say it properly. Then you must also learn to eat well. When you are not happy, you don't want to eat. Everything is against you. The world is turning upside down. Emotional stress. Eat well. Eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, nuts. Don't go and eat pizza or burger. Those ones are calories. That's why we increase your weight. Okay, I told us that your weight will increase. And when your weight will increase, the problem will not increase. Okay, so eat a lot of nuts. Then, lastly, try to exercise. Try and exercise. When you exercise, you are with your friends, you are jogging. All your heart muscles are all expanding. All the nerves, everything are moving. Then when you now go and sleep after exercise, you know that sleep will be a beautiful one. Is it not true? Yes. The sleep will be sweet. When you wake up from that sleep, all the imagination of evil will depart from your brain. Will depart from your brain. Will depart from your brain. Will depart. So you now do. So in summary, there is nobody, anybody on the surface of the earth that is born of a woman has one or two issues. But women are more prone. I've analyzed everything. So you must be very mindful of what you are going through. You must learn how to seek professional. You must be close to your family. Don't break up. Don't let somebody else come, third party come. Don't break up. Close to your family. Do exercise and eat well. Thank you very much.
Another beautiful round of applause for the Minister of Women Affairs. Wow. You held us by the jugular. You held us there. Now that you know everything that women go through, the one thing he has said in summary is intentionality. You have to be intentional about your health, your wellness, your emotional well-being. You have to manage everything together, knowing all the forces that are up against you. And my sister eats well. And exercise. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Minister of Women Affairs, Osazuwa, like I always call him. I would like to, we would be welcoming our final speaker for today, who will put the icing on the cake. All right. I'd like for us to welcome. She's not just the Chief Wellness Officer at Calme. She's also Nigeria's representative for the International Week of Happiness at Work. So, please, put your hands together for Olayinka Opaleye. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. A big thank you for the opportunity given to me by the board and directors of WIMBIZ. And thank you so much, Dr. Minister of Women Affairs. It's just, and thank you, Dr. Okewale, for such an insightful, but with all we've heard, I've gone past, childbearing, but I can imagine how agitated I was hearing all this. So I want to help us to distress a bit. So can we all close our eyes? We know that there's nothing happening here. Yeah, we are safe. Yeah, and we are safe. So nothing to worry about. I want us to clear our minds. Please, can we close our eyes and drop our, please sit back. Make sure you're as comfortable as possible. And drop our hands by our sides just to relax. I just want us to be comfortable. What we are doing is breathing exercise. So it's just quick way of, like quick fixes. We've talked about stress. How do we overcome it? How do we fix it quickly whenever we go through such things? Are we all comfortable? Are we ready? So close your eyes, let down your hands to your side. Take deep breath. Now, this is how you're going to do it. When I say in, you take in the deep breath. I'm going to count up to 7. Yeah, then I'll say out. Then you take in the oxygen through your nostrils and then out through your mouth. Okay? Not through out through the mouth. In through the nostrils, out through the mouth. So please, let's go. In. Out. How was that? Great, yeah? So can we do it 2 more times, please? Yeah. So can we do in? Fill your lungs with so much oxygen as you can. Out. And lastly, are we ready? In, please. I need us to close our eyes so we won't be distracted. We just concentrate on self and the moment. Enjoy the moment, please. In. Out. Please, can somebody tell me how it felt? He or she felt, please. Relaxing, soothing, yeah? Yeah, good. So whenever you feel, I used to suffer from migraines, and I had a bout with it for 9 good years. Like the doctors have said it all women went through, we go through, not even just all I went through. Like your head is just speaking. You're constantly thinking. And then you start having, the what triggers, what made me just know that something is going on is I start having these lingering headaches. Those tiny, and you're still doing all the chores, you're still doing the work and everything. But the headache is there, and it can last days. And we're not paying attention to it. It's dangerous. Just take out time. How many minutes did it take us now to clear the head? I call it clearing the head. Yeah. So just clear the head and just know that everything is important. We are hopeful. Very important. We are hopeful. Yeah. Now, what is stress? To me, I say it's anything. Yeah. Whether it's your perception, your thought, your assumption, it doesn't really have to be something. You don't see it, but you can feel it. And the sad thing is, our emotional well-being, yeah, it's connected to all other dimensions of well-being. Be it your physical, your spiritual, your social, career, it's all intertwined. And so I'll say stress is a state of mental, emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or demanding circumstances. It's anything at all, like I said. Your thoughts, your perception, your feelings, your actions or inactions that can easily put you on FOF. I like calling it FOF. It's flight or fight mode. It's a biological mechanism that's in our body. I don't want to go too techy because of we all experience it. When we encounter danger, our system, God has wired us such a way that our body needs to respond to, okay, what am I going to do? Should I run? Or that is the flight side. Take to flight. Should I run? Or should I fight? And if you are constantly stressed, your body's, the alarm system is constantly going on in the system. And it's a biological mechanism, and it's such that self-regulates itself. Like if you encounter such, like you feel that you're exposed to danger, and that happens to you, you know, what the system does is the blood goes to where you need them. Your limbs that you need to take to flight, or, you know, and your eyes, you know, it takes the blood from your tummy or areas to where you really need it, so you can respond appropriately. You can imagine going through stress from morning to night. It's constant alarm going off. And it's what's supposed to be self-regulatory is not regulated, because when you go through stress, you're supposed to have a time to calm down, so everything should go back to normal. But nothing is going back to normal. You face work stress. Then you get home. You know, go through you commute long distance. You get home, you're still going to cook. That's another stress. When you're supposed to be home to relax. And what happens? The hormone, there are hormones responsible for the FOF. They are called stress hormones, cortisol. And then the body, the body is just secreting this hormone, and it's not abating. It's not going back to normal because you are not relaxing, you are not rested. Before you know it, the body is drowned in cortisol. And the danger of it is it messes up the fertility, all the fertility structure, it messes it up. It leads to PCOS. Because the thyroidal hormone is disrupted. It leads to type 2 diabetes. Because the cortisol is high, the system is not absorbing insulin. So you can imagine, it's so terrible what stress can do to the body. So we need to be very, very aware and conscious and be deliberate, intentional, like she said. So how do we do this? You need to find your stressors. There are 8 dimensions of well-being. For people to easily remember, I call it species F. That you have the spiritual well-being, you have your physical, you have intellectual, emotional, you have your career, intellectual, you have environmental. You know, Dr. Okewale has said it. I was just nodding when he was saying it. You have environmental, like he said about, you know, those chemicals that we're exposed to. You know, we have environmental, then we have financial. Because, you know, I need to pay school fees. You know, that's stress alone. Do you understand? So all this, if we are not balanced, something will suffer. Something will suffer. Now, I'm going to tell you a story just to corroborate all that has been said. I'm going to tell you a story of Ololade, a true story. And Ololade, funny enough, met with Dr. Okewale when she was suffering secondary infertility. So she had the first child. There was no problem. In fact, she wasn't ready when she got pregnant. But she wasn't living in the country. So you can imagine the atmosphere, the environment, no pollution, everything was clear. Systems and structures are the things that are working. So she could conceive, even when she was not prepared to conceive. And then she had this child. She relocated back to Nigeria, started working. So the work pressure, you know, even WHO they've identified that, you know, diseases are not only caused by biomedical conditions. We have socio-economic conditions that they call them socio-economic determinants of health. So your health outcomes is not about your genetics. Oh, it's in my blood, it's concerning. No, sometimes it's your socio-economic conditions, which are like living conditions, work conditions, you know, environment you live in, things that you go through, your level of education. And I'm not talking about, getting to high institution, but your level of health education. How aware are you regarding your health? How observant are you? You know, sometimes we just let things, like I talked about the lingering headaches. We just let things slide. We just, it's fine. I think at least I can still move. Before the person collapses and you'll be wondering why. There are always telltale signs. There are always warning signs. So Ololade got into the country. She wasn't even prepared to have a second child. But you know, our culture, the pressure. They'll say, you know, when she congratulates her mother-in-law because the sister-in-law just gave birth. She also had 2 children between her first and second. So you can imagine. You congratulate, say, you know, my dear, you know, that they've sowed that thing in your mind already. Do you get what you weren't thinking of? They've put it there, which will stress you. I'm sure they meant well. But do you understand? It puts pressure because our women values are tied to ability to bear children in our culture. And it's so unfair. But that's the culture. But what do you do? That is it. How do you manage when you encounter this? And that is what your emotional well-being is all about. How do you react? So Olalade has been going, it's okay, she, like Dr. Ula said, I kept saying that because you actually nailed the whole thing. Because she was living on the mainland, working on the island. So she commutes, long distance. She will come home late. She will still have to cook. Do you understand? The stress was just too much. And that was what was causing the secondary infertility. Unknowingly. But thank God she went to St. Ives. And she got diagnosed for anovulation, irregular ovulation. Now, she would medicine. You'll be placed on medication to regulate it. But the issue is, if you don't address the root cause, you will just be loading the medication. Because like you're loading, you want it to regulate. But what is making it irregular is you're still battling with it. You know, luckily for her, she changed location. She moved closer to work. Yeah, she changed job to a less stressful one. And within 2 years, she had 2 children. So you can say it's not about, there are certain things that you can't pinpoint. I call them hidden diagnoses. You can't pinpoint them, but they are there. And it's tests with medicine that you'll be able to identify and see what is going on. She got 2 children. I even felt for the employer. Because within 2, just you change the job and just like that place was El Dorado. You're just having children going on maternity leave. And that is, I just want to plead with our women. Please don't let us take chances with our health. It's so important. And like I said, don't say, oh, I have faith, I don't want to see doctor. But medicine would show you where the problem is. Now it's for you to do critical thinking and deep dive and see what is actually going, what is responsible for this. Root causes are so key. There's something called upstream approach to healthcare, which is it's good to attack to attack symptoms, but it's important for you to get to the root cause. And nobody can analyze your root cause for you other than yourself, because you know. Even doctors can. That's why they ask you questions, because they need to understand. There's some people that will have skin rashes. And if you're living in an environment that is moldy, and they're having issues to breathe, then you go to the hospital. They give you antibiotics, right? Right? You get antibiotics, but you're still going back into that house. And that's it, living condition. Now, like socioeconomic, and finance, like I said, financial stress. If Olalade could not move closer to work, she couldn't afford it. The infertility will still persist. So is it medical condition that is causing the infertility? No. It's the inability to be able to afford that. So today, I want us to do a small exercise to evaluate our well-being, just to identify, to know how well you are. You are going to assess yourself. You've been given small pieces of paper, right? So I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Rate yourself on the scale of 1 to 5. And then we add it up, you will do this, because you will know where you are lagging. It's okay. It's nothing to be scared of. It's just like you're assessing yourself. Yeah, because what are the stressors? I've mentioned the stressors, so we're just going to identify. I'm going to give you questions. I'm going to ask questions based on each one. Under career and finance, your career well-being. How are you doing? Are you doing what you love? Some people, for me, if I'm not feeling fine, they wake me up, there's a client. My husband says, once you hear clients and everything, you will go. It's not because about them, but because I enjoy it. Do you understand? But when you dread going to work, it's enough to stress you up. and it's enough to cause the imbalance. So how are you doing with your work? Do you love what you're doing currently? I'm not asking you to resign and change jobs. We are just assessing here, please. On a scale of 1 to 5, rank it. Yeah. 5 being the highest, I enjoy it completely. And then 1 being the least. I hope nobody will have 0. So, how many questions? Don't worry. It's just, okay. The paper is small. Yeah. I'm sorry. The question is, just give the numbers and then we'll add everything up. Yeah, so just, you can rule it a bit. And then the next one, how fulfilled are you career-wise or business-wise in terms of advancement, growth, and development? How fulfilled are you career-wise or business-wise in terms of advancement, personal growth, and development? On a scale, still on the scale of 1 to 5, just give yourself a score. Is any other aspect of your life suffering because of your career? Because of your job? Is home front suffering? Is your health suffering? No, not being able to sleep well is still part of it. Your health, your relationship, your family. Oh, my children suffered when I was... Sorry? Sorry? It's the second question. How fulfilled are you career or business-wise? Yeah. Okay, the first one, how well do you love what you're doing? Then the second one is, how fulfilled are you career-wise? How happy are you? You might even love what you're doing, but are you growing? Sometimes there's always imbalance when you love what you're doing, but it's not turning to money. It's still the financial worry is still going to be there. But there must be a balance. You love what you're doing and it's paying the bills. That's where we all want to be. That is where we all want to be. Right. And is any other aspect of your life suffering? That's the third one. Sorry, yeah. Is any other part of your life suffering? Your health, your relationship, or family? How well? What was that? No. Once there's a number, it's a yes, yeah? But even the degree, the number will tell us the degree. Is any aspect of your life suffering because of your career? That's 0. Yeah. No. If any part of your career is not suffering, it's 5. You're good. Yeah. If any part of career is not suffering, it's good. It's 5. Sorry. But if it's suffering, yeah. Once you have a number to it, yes. Yeah. So on the scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least, 5 being, the highest, yes. How well have you been able to establish good life and work balance? Now, I'm an advocate for this work-life balance. We need to be able to to relate with it in the sense that sometimes I might give 13 hours of my work, but home front is not suffering. I might be able to bring work home, and I'm still doing the work, right? But no aspect, that is where the balance is. No aspect is suffering. It's not until I do 24 hours at work. That is when I know that I'm working. So balance is not a number of hours. It's how you're able to juggle things to ensure that nothing is suffering. If I need to go to a hospital, I take time off work and go to the hospital. I say, because of work, I can't go to office. Then something is suffering. Then financial well-being. How fulfilled are you financially? Can you afford all your needs? I didn't say wants. I did not say wants. I said needs. So we can want all sorts of things. But how are you able to afford your needs? Now, like I said about Olalade, if she couldn't afford to move closer to work, then financial well-being is not so good. Do you have enough to save for rainy days? So these are questions that you ask yourself. Now, if you're saying minus, why? So that means you're not doing, the job you are doing is not catering to what is meant to cater to. Do you understand? Because if we don't get to this, finding the root cause, then do you have a household budget? Or you're an impulse spender? I see these clothes, I need to buy it. Allowance for feeding, I'm using it to buy clothes. Are you growing your savings account, however little? I'm going to run through it now because of time, please. Are you cutting down or limiting unnecessary expenses? Now, for emotional, how resilient are you? Like I said, how do you react? Are we such that we bottle it up? I cannot cry. I'm big. I can't. Do you understand? No, I'm not expecting you to break down in front of people. Do you understand? But we should be able to. There are ways that we can react, and it's therapeutic for us. Then how well can you cope with challenges, recover from setbacks, and still be optimistic? We need to be hopeful. How have you been able to understand yourself and manage your emotions in trying times? How well have you been able to acknowledge and share feelings of anger, sadness, happiness, stress, hope, love, and joy? Now, for social well-being, are you sociable? So let's for you to be able to rate yourself, how sociable are you? How well are you? I need to run through, please. I need to finish up. How well are you able to connect with others in your world, even in your area, what your industry, the industry that you're working at? How easy is it for you to connect with other people in your industry? Do you have up to 3 to 4 very close friends that you can call on, that they can actually be there to support immediately? 3 to 4. How strong is your sense of belonging, connection, and support system? Some of us find that in religious gatherings, yeah? Physical well-being. How have you been able to maintain a healthy lifestyle? We need to eat well. We need to exercise. We need to practice good sleep hygiene. 7 to 8 hours. I know it's Lagos, but 7 to 8 hours. How are you be able to, is there a way you've been catching up on the sleep that you lose during the week? How have you been able to use daily physical activities like exercise, diet, sleep, nutrition to keep fit? Do you practice good sleep hygiene? I've said that. Also, how well do you manage your health conditions? Take care of yourself when sick or keep doctor's appointments. Environmental. How often do you deliberately stay outdoors to enjoy fresh air or green space? Oh, no, I disagree. I disagree. Do you have plants around you? I disagree. We create it. If you can't find it, you create it. Green plants. During COVID, I had to fill the house with green plants because you need the oxygen. They give off oxygen. They take in carbon dioxide. So we are exchanging. What I need, they have, and they're giving it off. So how are you able to do that? All this, when you have oxygen in your system, your head is clear. You sleep well. You're energetic. Do you take advantage of good weather to play with kids, spouse, friend, outside, plant something like herbs and shrubs? Like, there are some seasonal fruits. They are seasonal for a reason. There are plenty in that particular season because Nature knows that you need the nutrients in those fruits at that time. So do you consume them as you're saying them? Or you just, I don't like mango. I don't like oranges. Nature is telling you, I'm providing it because you need it. But we say we don't like it. We'll buy packed juice instead. I'm not saying, I'm not against packed juice, but I'm just saying that, these are signals. These are environmental well-being things that we need to be aware of. And do you care for the environment yourself? How clean is your area? Sometimes when you get into an environment, into a room, you can feel that the air there is not clear. You can feel it, it's not clear, it's not clean. So are you always well prepared for seasonal change? So I guess my work is done. So you can see me, if you rate yourself, you can see me and we discuss. Okay, right, so you want... All right, so there is a cell quadrant that I came up with. The score will tell you if you are sailing strong or you are sinking. Okay, so strong will give you strong is between 118 to 155. If your total score, after rating yourself, between 118 and 155, that means you're sailing strong. Average is 79, between 79 and 117. Yeah, but it's the scores that matter. Now you're going to add everything together. The scores. So 21 times. It's not. Yeah. Please see me. During question and answer, I need to go now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. A round of applause for her, please. I know. You want to know if you're sailing strong, Abi? Our Minister of Women Affairs said I should bring hope to you. You are sailing strong. All right, thank you. It's been such a beautiful session, right? Very eye-opening, very insightful. Now, all the questions about to be answered. You don't have to go to St. Ives or ask Dr. Okewale why you're seeing him here right now. So we'll have our speakers up and ready to take your questions. So those online, for our online audience, we would like for you to drop your questions very quickly, and we will pick it up and ask. And those on site, of course, I'm sure you would want to, by a show of hands, let us know if you have a question. We'll be taking those right now. Thank you. This one. Let me just walk forward. Okay, so we'll take it one after the other.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, once again, my name is Chigbo. I'd like to ask this pertinent question. When all the indices are right, according to what you said, should be in place. Tubes are fine, regular menstruation, regular sex, everything is fine, and it's not happening. And then secondly, it's happened, miscarriages. So what factors are we talking about again? Thirdly, apologies, I have 3 questions. Thirdly, is there such thing as improving the eggs of a woman when age is advancing? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So the first one, I did mention the 5 requirements and then the investigation. Now, The essence of those investigations is to find out whether there is a problem. But in about 10% of women who are trying to get pregnant, everything is fine. And so what do we call that? We call that unexplainable or unexplained infertility. That on its own has a treatment. You know, so after we've done all the investigations, everything came back well. So there's a treatment for that on its own. So, I mean, that answers, I think, that one. Yeah. So it's not as if we are doing the investigation and thinking we must find a problem. That alone can be reassuring to a lot of women that there's nothing wrong with us. In which case, they can try for maybe a few more months. And if nothing still happens, there's a treatment for that on its own. Now, what was the second question again? Miscarriage. Now, most pregnancies, see, pregnancy is divided into 3 parts. You have what we call the first trimester, the first 12 weeks, and then the second 12 weeks, and then the last 12 weeks. The most dangerous time of the pregnancy is usually the first 12 weeks. The second most dangerous time is the last 12 weeks. Now, the first 12 weeks is when miscarriages occur. And what usually happens within that first 12 weeks is the fetus is being formed. The body behaves like a computer, an antivirus. Once the pregnancy is put inside the womb, what the body does is it starts scanning the fetus. Does it have the full complement of the fingers, the head, this and that? And all those processes takes like 10 weeks. That's the first 12 weeks. I'm using layman language now. If the body finds out for whatever reason that the pregnancy is not right, it usually stops the growth. That's a self-mechanism. But when the client comes to the patient, all we say is, oh, the pregnancy stopped growing, you have a missed abortion, or a blighted ovum, or sometimes you might even start bleeding, and then we say it's a miscarriage. Now, there are some women that this body mechanism does not operate with, and such abnormal fetuses goes on and escape into the second and the third trimester. Most of the time, those are the babies that come out as abnormal. But it's difficult to tell someone who's had a miscarriage that this could be a blessing in disguise. I mean, who would say miscarriage as a blessing in disguise? So, most miscarriages in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy are due to abnormality. So that's one. But what you don't expect is for it to be recurrent. If it happens this first pregnancy, you don't expect the second pregnancy to happen and the third to happen. If it happens like that, then we call it recurrent miscarriage. And there's usually an underlying problem in that case, which requires quite a bit of investigation. But one of the key investigations, if one is having a recurrent miscarriage, is something called antiphospholipid antibodies. There are some antibodies some women carry, and they carry it in such a way that anything that goes inside the womb, they attack it. So it's very important for whoever is having a recurrent miscarriage to check out for that antiphospholipid antibody. What was the thought?
Okay, so please, sorry, a second there.
Okay. Yeah.
Have the mic closer. Our online audience are struggling to hear you.
Okay, thank you. So, so like I said earlier on, as a woman grows older, the quality and the quantity of the egg starts to decrease. It's not only the egg in the woman body that goes through that same process. It's just because that's what we are talking about now. Every tissue in either a woman or a man goes through the same process, or every organ. Let me give you an example. When I was younger, maybe when I was a teenager, I used to have an afro. But I can't do that anymore because the quality and the quantity of my hair has decreased over the years. Now, I can get some supplements to make my hair in terms of quantity to get more. But the quality, I probably will not have much control over. So if I get a supplement that will make my hair grow more, probably you will see more gray hair. Those are quality. Okay? So the same thing happens with the egg. There are drugs we could give that can increase the quantity. But there are very few things in the experimental stages right now that one can do to improve the quality, but they've not been well documented or established. Let me put it that way. So we can increase the quantity, but truthfully, we have little or no control on the quality. Okay.
That deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much, Doc. Okay. To make this balance, we will take one online, one on-site, one online. Everybody agrees, right? So before we come back to the on-site, let's quickly take an online question. Okay, so she said, I have a question. My menstruation lasts for only 1 or 2 days. By the 3rd day, I am very clean. It wasn't always like this from the beginning, but since it changed, it has remained like that. Is that irregular, and should I be worried about my fertility? I am not married.
You want to answer that? I should go ahead. Okay. So the most important thing about menstruation is the normal menstrual cycle is, for most people, I'm talking in terms of length now, it's usually 28, 30 days and whatnot. And the normal bleeding time could be anything from 2 days to 5 days. Any bleeding above 5 days, we tend to say it's a bit prolonged. Now, 1 to 2 days, as long as it is regular every month. If it's regular every month, there's a very high likelihood that you are ovulating. It's very unusual for someone to be having a regular period and not be ovulating. Let me just put it that way. I wouldn't say you should be too worried. The only time you should be worried is when you are trying to get pregnant, if it's not happening easily.
All right, thank you very much. So we are back on site.
Good afternoon. Although you have answered part of the question, that's on the miscarriage, I wanted to know if you have a frequent one that you have said, like before 12 weeks, it comes down, and then it happened like 3-4 times, and then still unable to hold on to the pregnancy. So I need to know what can you do to be able to ensure that it stays, it doesn't come down. Then secondly, when you are already you are reaching menopause or over for like few years, and then suddenly period now come, like maybe 2 times in 3 years, are you supposed to be worried? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So basically what you've described is called recurrent miscarriages. Anybody who has had a miscarriage on 2 or more occasions consecutively, on 3 or more occasions consecutively, not a situation of I had a miscarriage, then I had a normal pregnancy, and then I had a miscarriage. Consecutively, we call that recurrent miscarriage. What could be the cause? That's the first thing. What could be the cause? Because it's gone beyond what I explained the other time. Now, if you look at it, there are 3 actors at play. You have the fetus inside the womb, you have the womb, and you have the totality of the woman who is carrying the pregnancy. I'll call that the environment. So you need to look into those 3 factors to try and now find out why it's happening. As far as the fetus is concerned, abnormality, I mentioned that earlier on. It could be the womb. There are some womb that are configured in a way that anytime you put a pregnancy in there, you have a miscarriage. So there are certain abnormalities. We call them arcuate uterus, septate uterus, or uterus with some form of abnormality inside. How do you detect that? Scan, HSG will tell you whether that's where the problem is. Now, what about the environment, the woman herself? Because there could be something in the woman carrying the pregnancy that's causing this recurrent miscarriage. And that's where that antiphospholipid antibody I mentioned comes in. It's one of the commonest causes of recurrent miscarriage. Now, 1 in 100 women carry those antibodies. So anytime there's a recurrent miscarriage, it's important that that antibody is checked in the system. And if it is there, the treatment is so simple. There are certain drugs you just need to take that will clear it away. That's one. There are other things that could be. Is the woman diabetic and it's not well controlled? Those are still part of the body. Does the woman have thyroid problem that's not well controlled? Those are part of the problem. Hypertension. Are you taking some drugs that you don't know about? Is your body mass index more than normal? Is your age? Because as you grow older again, the incidence of miscarriage starts to increase. Now, I'm just talking generally. Now, let me quickly give you statistics on age and miscarriage. Between the age of 20 and 30 years old, the incidence of miscarriage is about 15%. 15%. By age 30 to 35, it has increased to like 25%. By age 40, it has gone as high as 50%. What I'm saying is, if a 40-year-old plus woman gets pregnant, the chances that that pregnancy will end in a miscarriage is 1 in 2. So you can see how it's jumping up. By age 45 to 50, it's gone up to 90%. So the issue is not that you can't get pregnant, but the chances of that pregnancy resulting in a miscarriage increases. And what part of the reason why the statistics is like that, again, is because of the abnormality that tends to increase the quality of the egg that is resulting in the pregnancy. I hope you get that. So she needs those investigations I'm talking about. So apart from all the general things I've said, antiphospholipid, then there are some bacteria, some infection again, we call them the touch screening. Toxoplasmosis, herpes, cytomegalovirus, bacterial vaginosis. They need to check for all that. Especially bacterial vaginosis in the reproductive tract. They cause increased miscarriage. So it's a total checkup at that point in time.
Thank you.
Add one or two.
Okay. Sorry. So as a woman is getting closer to 50, so the age of menopause, generally speaking, is 50 years old plus or minus 2 years. So for some women, it might be at 52, others might be at 48. But something happens before you even reach menopause. Menopause means it has stopped. But a few years before it, there's something we call the climacteric or premenopausal years. And it is in those years, all the symptoms are already appearing. Your period has started doing tricks. Exactly. It comes once in 6 months and the rest. So it's quite normal. Yeah. I wanted to add something.
Yes. So with respect to miscarriages, especially early miscarriages, sometimes, as MD have said, sometimes are chromosomal issues. Okay? Now, that will also account why miscarriages are higher in elderly people because the eggs, quality of the eggs have been impaired with. So when you fertilize, when a sperm that is good, fertilize an egg that is not too good, so in order to avoid problem, so it's better for the miscarriage to occur because you end up having baby that have miscarriages. So, but mid-trimestral loss, and the issue of antiphospholipid, mid-trimestral loss sometimes too, can just be a weakness in the neck of the womb. That's why the patient comes for evaluation. So straightforward sacrilege solve that problem. Okay, so that is that. Then for bleeding, bleeding before, all those interval bleeding, we are not really worried about them. But when after the period has stopped, then you now start bleeding. So that one will give us a lot of concern, especially when there's a background history of hormonal imbalance. So we are a bit afraid. So those kind of patients, we evaluate them further. Probably we'll do an endometrial biopsy to be sure that there's nothing abnormal with them. Okay.
All right, so I'll take one more on site before we go online. So I have a lot of. So
good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much, WIMBIZ, for this opportunity. I feel so refreshed and delighted to be here. I think one of the questions I wanted to ask, you just answered it and said premenopause signs and all of that, maybe before the main year. So I wanted to say that there are some signs that I noticed. Sometimes I don't think it's malaria or typhoid. I just feel funny. The mood just changes. Body temperature. You know, everywhere I go to, they say, how old are you? I'm like, I'm not aged yet, though. Why did you ask? You know, be like, it's premenopause sign. You know, so, like about a year now, I noticed that I spot this period on a particular day. I spot it. After that, I won't see it again until maybe the third or fourth day, it comes normally. And then when it comes, like 3 months ago, it becomes so heavy. On the third or fourth, there was one that almost messed me up at my child's school. As I dropped from the car, I just, wow. By the time I looked at myself, I saw blood. I ran into the principal's office, and then she took me to her restroom. What do you call that?
How old are you?
I'm 40. I just clocked 40.
Oh, okay. Basically, sometimes, so there are things that cause increase in menstrual flow. So if you present, if actually you were bleeding before for like 2 days, 3 days, and subsequently say increase, and you are passing clots and the blood becomes thick.
Yes.
So we try to evaluate what are the likely cause. Okay, still restricted to the womb, and also restricted and part of the body. Now, basically, when we look at the womb first, we want to see if there's anything inside the womb, i.e., whether there's fibroid. Sometimes so the fibroid can distend the womb, and the patient may bleed and may bleed heavily. Okay, so also sometimes there can be issues inside the womb, which we call endometrial hyperplasia. So and sometimes there can also be polyp. There are some tiny growth that we don't see that are inside them that are called polyp. Those ones increase the surface area of the inside the womb of the endometrium, and the patient tend to bleed heavily. So when we notice that, sometimes there can be hormonal issue too. For people that have polycystic ovary and imbalance and hormone imbalance, they tend to also bleed because their period tend to stop. But suddenly when they bleed heavily. You see some teenage girls, they bleed and bleed and bleed. So those are things that we normally see. So when you have those kind of things, what we normally do is to try and evaluate and find out if there is anything there. So if there's anything there, we'll address it accordingly. But if most of the time, we will try as much as possible to avoid exclude anything that, may later become like, either malignancy or co.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So the other addition I just want to add is a woman's reproductive cycle can be funny at the two extremes of life. The first part is from what we call your menarche, when you first saw menstruation, maybe age 13 or so, in the teenage years. That's the first part. It can be problematic. The period is neither here nor there. There's a lot of menstrual pain, all the premenstrual tension, all the symptoms that people in the second half of their menstruation complain of. You can have it at that point in time. So that's one part. That's the first part. Then from 20 to 40, it's smooth sail. Those are the years when you are having the babies, your period has settled down, it's regular and the rest. The last part, from 40 to 50, can be problematic again. all those hormonal imbalances that occur in the early years rear their head again. And we call it sometimes dysfunctional uterine bleeding. You might be having an irregular period. This month it might come heavy. The other month it might be low. The other month it might just be spotting. All sorts of things. So dysfunctional uterine bleeding occurs in the latter part of the menstruation as well. And all those funny symptoms appear again. Tiredness, heavy breast, until your period comes, sometimes even down, depression, sleeplessness, insomnia, headaches that coming from nowhere. And then the period comes and everything is fine. And then the next period or during the next menstrual cycle, as the period is approaching, all those things rear their heads again. So it can be normal. But like Dr. Ede-Edokpolor said, one shouldn't take chances. It's still better to just do the basic investigations and be sure it's nothing sinister. Then you can be reassured. Sometimes just knowing that these are just normal things happening in my body is enough for most women.
Thank you, sir. Secondly, I want to ask, for people who don't like all these birth control measures, you know, you've tried maybe the implants, you've tried the coil and all of that, and then they seem not to suit your body, and you want to play safe. What do you do? Because I heard a posting or two or so, if you take it more than once or twice in a month, it scatters your cycle. So what do you advise? Then the third one should be for my sweet mommy here. Managing stress. I can see no one has asked you anything. I have a lot to ask you, but I'll just make it brief. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I do a whole lot. So recently I'm trying to balance life. And you made mention of work-life balance. And you've said a lot of things that has helped me, which I've already put into practice. But what can I do so that nothing will be affected in terms of my own health? Especially when you have some staff who give you headache. You understand? Pressure here and there. Who cannot do things on their own. Headache every time. You understand? And you don't want to put the pressure in your home. So how do you balance it? How do you make yourself happy? How do you calm down? Though I'm a very good person when it comes to that, though. I'm a very sociable person. So I know how to, very obvious, I'm an events planner. So I know how to catch my phone. But then there are sometimes it gets to me. I really don't want that stress or pressure. So those are my two questions. So the first one, the postinor 2, what does he, contraceptive, yes, sorry. So what do you do? Then that postinor, is it true that when you use it more than once or so, it disrupts your cycle, your system and all of that, sir? And you know, coil, grammar with infection, implants, additional body weight, you know, so many stories. So thank you so much.
All right. Regarding, you know, you said you're a serial entrepreneur. It's important for you to align your goals. You know, you can have different businesses. Hello? Okay. You can have different businesses, but they can be in sync. That is not like far apart. I think this is working. This is better, right? Yeah. So you can have different things you're doing, but are they aligned? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like a teacher. If you want to have, you can be doing lesson teaching or virtual. You don't even need to go. So it's still in sync with your profession. But as a lesson teacher, selling, you can even sell books. It's still in line. But selling, something, so it's totally not in sync with what you're doing. Sometimes you can't, your mind has to be in a particular line with what you're doing. And then you have to juggle selling rice again. It's just not matching. So you have to find a way of aligning what you're doing. Then secondly, with staffing, do you have job JDs that you or procedure? It might not even be JD, procedure that they all need to read and know that this is how I do things. Have they watched you work and they know this is how I do things? Sometimes it's even best for you to get people that you train than to get people that are already formed. Their opinions are formed. They are so difficult to work with. I'm telling you from experience. So I had to get interns. Like, okay, this is how I do my things. I don't want somebody that told me, this is what I know. You see how I do my things. Because I have clients working and they'll tell me, I didn't get this. It's my invention, yeah, but they expect it. But because you get somebody that feels is knowledgeable, you can't train them, it gives you an issue. But if you get interns, you show them this is the procedure. They are new, they are raw, they are teachable. Do you get what I'm saying? And then you give them, let them read your procedure, let them sign. I understand. If you don't understand, talk to me, because it's important in leadership. Clear communication is key. Sometimes we expect them to know. And we are not talking to them. You're an adult now, you should know. That's where we get it wrong. You're assuming that the person knows. Yeah. So that's.
I'm an advocate of contraception. No matter how the side effect is, I'm an advocate of contraception. There are different types. And there's no way they will not have one or two side effects. Okay, the implanons, to some extent, irregular bleeding, and people claim weight gain, but you can also work on your diet very well. You may not have much issue with that. The only issue I have with implanon is that unplanned bleeding that people tend to bleed in between. The IUCD, to some extent too, okay, foreign body in the vagina, in the uterus, and with some vaginal discharge that is associated with it. Then the other one, which I normally also counsel people on, is the bilateral tubal ligation, which people actually, but they do them a lot. Yeah, I see. I have a patient that I'm going to tie a tube on delivery soon. She has concluded, said 3 children is enough, and she said I should tie her tube. I should ensure I do that. Yeah, and I was trying to discourage her. She was very sure about what she wants. Like, so most of the time too. So now that issue of the problem I normally have with all this prostanon, combined oral contraceptives, except for a very short interval, it may not really work for you. Because you can't keep on taking prostanon. Okay, you are exposing yourself to a high level of progesterone, which may not also be too good. I cannot say your husband should be in the sitting room while you are also in the parlor. It cannot work. It can never work. It can never work. So, and time it and because you cannot really do it for life. So, yes, it can work. Barrier method, which is condom, for a married couple, is difficult. It's difficult, whether I would like it or not. People will always claim they can do it. Then you are coming, they are begging you to come and help them remove the baby. I have seen them a lot. So I think that, I don't know whether MD has anything to say concerning that. I think that look for the one that's convenient for you. It's better to have a contraception than to go and carry out, procure an unsafe abortion. That's the thing. It's usually better. Just try and live with one. Nothing is perfect on the surface of the earth. Even the earth is still undergoing shaping, and we are discovering every day. So just irrespective, just try and do one. Do one. If it's not one, some people will come, they'll put IUCD this week, they'll come back in 2 months' time, they put in planner. They'll go back after about 1 month, after about 2-3 months, they'll come back again. They say they want injection. We'll give them depot for 3 months. Okay. Some of them will go and come back. People will manage them till 45 until they cannot get pregnant again. So it's better because I'm not an advocate of plenty children. I'm not an advocate of plenty children. It's because the stress that the children put on you, both emotionally and psychologically and spiritually, the prayer point alone is more than enough. More than enough. So I'm not an advocate of the children. So it's really too much. Prayer point, yes. Prayer point. So try and look for one that is convenient for you. I don't know if MD has on that what to say.
No, I don't.
Thank you very much, Minister.
So the issue of the BTL, if you are sure that, let me just throw light on bilateral tubal ligation. If you are sure you completed your family cycle, maybe you are a situation where you have had like 2-3 cesarean section, you're not going to come to me to say, come and operate you on the 4th time. But I can do it, but I won't counsel you. I'll tell you, stop there. That is where culture and taboo comes into place. They say that if you tie your tube now, when you are coming back in the next generation, you will not have your tube on. It's all taboo. So that's what they tell us. So BTF, fine, is better. You can, if you have concluded, maybe you know that your delivery will be traumatic. So people have very traumatic delivery. Placenta are staying, you cannot bring them out. And it's difficult. And this woman really bled. You know, say, madam, please rest. They will not rest, but they will still come, some of them. Sickle cell patient too, who cancer, you rest. So now what I now say is that it's not necessarily that you must have surgery to do a tubal ligation. Let me make it clear. But most people don't know. You can still have a spontaneous vaginal delivery and your tubes will be tied if you want it. Now, so that is the thing. Then the other issue we do have is that, whether you can reverse it. Whether you can reverse a BTL. Let me just make this one clear. It's usually difficult to reverse. Okay? It's usually difficult to reverse. They will not look at men. Because men are supposed to also do contraception. But they won't see them. They're supposed to do so. Unfortunately, the men will never do vasectomy. Yes, we can, if you have the power. Now, you see, when I was discussing, you can see what I go through as a doctor, as a physician. I go through a lot for women. And most of the women, they tend to forget me, but I still think I'll still continue my work. So vasectomy for men too, for men do that. The ski is a bit limited because most men actually don't come for it. So that's why we don't do vasectomy. Okay. So please, contraception is very important. Please. Very, very.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you give Minister a round of applause, please? Okay, I'll take 2 questions online, 2 on-site, and that will be it, so that we can manage our time properly. So online we have someone asking, can a treated hormonal imbalance reoccur? That is one. Maybe we should just get the answer to that.
Yes. If the problem that caused the hormonal imbalance, if the root has not been addressed properly, yeah. For example, let me just quickly give an example. One of the commonest hormonal problems is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Basically what polycystic ovarian syndrome does is it does not let you ovulate. But we also know that one of the treatments for polycystic ovarian syndrome is lifestyle changes. Watch your weight, exercise more. Just losing 10% of your weight can reverse the whole process. So if the treatment had been done, you are ovulating, you had a child, and then you will go back to the same problem. Yes, it can reoccur.
All right, thank you. And then this person said, if a woman's period just stops in her mid-40s without any signs of menopause and stays like that for 6-7 more years, is that menopause or something else? Does that pose any danger in later years?
Now, any menstruation that stops before the age of 40 years is called premature menopause. The other medical term we use for that is primary ovarian failure. Basically what it means is the ovary has failed. In fact, menopause, even at 50, what has happened is the ovary failed. The ovary has finished its work. So if it happens below the age of 40, that's premature menopause. If it happens around the early 40s, we can still term that premature menopause.
All right, thank you. So, sorry, before I've had this lady who raised her hands first. Sorry, her hands have been on. After her, we'll take this other lady, please.
Thank you. Thank you for this privilege and my place of work. I'm one of the newlywed at my place of work, Ruby's Court School, and they made me know about this. So my question is this: I just got married like a few months ago, and thank you, Maz. So the thing is on emotional wellness. Now, if I cough, they will ask me to quickly go to the clinic to check. If it is small migraine, you have to go to the clinic. It has been advised that naturally I shouldn't take self-medication for anything I observe now, but it is too much. I can't it is affecting me emotionally because any small thing, I'm just looking forward to, hope this is not it. How do I have measures to take, not to free myself of the expectation and anxiety that comes with any small headache. I had to visit the clinic because I was telling my friend that I have this migraine. Grace, it's pregnancy. Go to the clinic. So how do now it is unconscious. I'm not really expecting, but it is unconsciously now affecting me emotionally. Because every now and then I'm thinking about, is there something inside there already? So I need probably measures to take or actionable things to do to just free myself of the expectations.
Yeah, I would say self-care. Okay? Not medication, self-care. Take time out, be away from people. Yeah, just go somewhere quiet. You know, I love sauna. It's the only place that children will not run to you. Mommy, no, you stay there. Quiet place. You have meditation. You don't do meditation. You do meditation in sauna by force, by fire. You know, steam room. Just stay there. You know, just have to practice self-care. That's the solution. And, you know, our society, we need to do better. And sometimes they feel they are just trying to. Because I know somebody that took offense in me not asking. But because of what I've experienced, I felt it difficult to ask, how far? Do you understand? But some will say you're not caring. So we need a shift in our thinking. Do you understand? But for you, because the panicky stage can cause issues too. So just self-care.
All right, thank you, Ma.
Please, because you have to make sure you register for antenatal, because that is when you have to discuss. You go for antenatal classes. They educate you. If you are not, whether they prenatal, most likely. The way she's describing it.
That is my question.
Okay. So if you are not pregnant, wait, sorry. Let me just round up. Sorry, so that wow, sorry. So because of those, I understand. I had a patient like that who has what we call honeymoon cystitis. She was having very bad urinary tract infection and everything. What she was just having was honeymoon cystitis. Because she became restless and she was running up and down, she was passing urine. Everybody thought about diabetes and co. But she visited me and I was able to make the diagnosis and reassure her. That's how the thing went away. So if you're having, rather than meeting people that are not professional, I emphasize professional. There are a lot of people who knows nothing about. You won't see me climbing the step or trying to repair a roof. I can never do it. Even my parents once abused me that I was more useful as a younger doctor. Because I was treating everything. Hypertension, diabetes, stroke, I will give them medicine. But when I now become a specialist, I have to drop all those ones and stay on my lane. Even in my lane as a gynecologist, I don't do cancer. I don't do oncology. If you're oncology, maybe Dr. Okewale does that. I don't know. But I know he doesn't do it. So look for their professionals. We are here today. The Ede-Edokpolor app. You can consult us. Do you understand? So that you will not, so that people who doesn't have information, that's the problem I have in this country. People that doesn't know things, they are the ones that claim that they know. They need to feed you with the information. Do you understand? So,
well done, Dr. Osazuwa. So just like Dr. Osazuwa said, newly married, one of the things you probably need is what we call pre-pregnancy counseling. You know, it's a big aspect on its own. And again, there are professionals that will put you through on what to expect. That is when you are pregnant. Pre-pregnancy has a lot. In fact, most newly married couples should attend it together, you know, because it's at that time a lot of things here that needs to be done. And I'm sure, like Dr. Osazuwa said, it's better to listen to professionals, not family, friends, and the rest. And if you can't see a professional like any of us here on that, there are apps now. Now, for example, the Ede-Edokpolor app he was talking about, you will see thousands of people there, counselors, not St. Ives hospital counselors. We just happen to be on that app as well. You see counselors, wellness people, exactly. So you look at their profile, anyone you feel comfortable to talk with them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. One last on-site question. So madam, you have the mic.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, Doc. Sorry, I asked that my face not be shown, not because of anything. I've heard everything everybody had to say, and I've actually listened real well to you. I started listening to you from online when I was driving here, and when you started talking, I was like, okay, I needed to speed up to get here. I've been married for a couple of years now, trust me. And I think I've done everything that everybody would say to do, aside from IVF. Please don't look at my face so I don't cry. That, and I have done both medically, traditionally, and I've done all manners of local massages and all of that. Now, the last I did last year was something called a 3D scan somewhere in Ikoyi, and a lot of money went down and all of that. End of the day, what I heard was, oh, there are some adhesions and all of that. Now, one of the things that discouraged me from going through certain something the doctor said, I needed to do his operative hysteroscopy. And once the operative hysteroscopy is done, I will have to do an IVF. But the IVF, certain doctors can give you feedback that can turn you off. And he said something like, after the operative hysteroscopy, when you do the IVF, you're going to get a donor egg to help you because of age factor. I'm still a young girl anyway. I'm just 44. So I now said to him, I said, if the womb is okay to carry another person's egg, I can as well. So my husband couldn't wrap his head around it. But the question he asked was, so whose child would it be? He said, biologically your child, but mentally it would be mine. So that was a lot of mental torture for me. So I had to let that go. Now I'm asking this, I want to ask this question to say, you were talking about mental health. He was talking about a lot of things about the woman and all of the processes, and you both had everything to say about all of this. I haven't seen my period since 2023, December last. And then last year, December 9th, I just had some spotting, but I had the feeling of everything. Now, sometimes you feel bloated, like you're pregnant, and all the symptoms and all the signs and everything, even as I stand, you feel it. But at the end of it all, you will do all manner of, even MRI, everything, and keep telling you, oh, nothing. Now, I don't have fibroid, I don't have anything, whatever, everything about you is fine. There is no story of menopause or something. So when you said something like you can do all of these scans and all of this, and you check that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. So what exactly is the problem? That since I got married, period started season, if you see it twice in a year, praise God, and it becomes a concern. Now, personally, listening to everybody in this room, and I'm asking myself, so what is my problem? And to be honest with you and I'm tired of going to doctors, because you get to hear certain things and it annoys. So what exactly is one supposed to do to get past certain things? Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. So like I said during the presentation, there are 5 requirements to getting pregnant naturally. The first requirement is your husband's sperm. It must be of good quality, and it must be of good quality. The second requirement is you must be seeing your periods regularly, and in such a way that you will be able to know your fertile period, to know when you are ovulating. Because don't forget, naturally, you only get pregnant when you make love during your fertile period. The third requirement is the inside of your womb must be able to accept and be able to keep a pregnancy, not just accept. So there shouldn't be anything in there that will disrupt pregnancy, whether it's a fibroid, whether it's a polyp, whether it's an adhesion, scar, or infection. The fourth requirement is your fallopian tubes. It must be open so that the eggs you form on your ovary can enter the tube and meet with the sperm. And then lastly, you must be producing quality eggs every month. Now, what I went further to say was, that's for natural pregnancy. If you see anybody who had gotten pregnant naturally, those 5 things worked for them. Now, if anyone now comes and says, I've been trying for pregnancy, I don't know what the problem is. The essence of all investigations is to just check those 5 things. And what I said was, those 5 things can be checked, if it's well planned, within a day or 2. And within a week, you will have an answer. Because the most important thing about fertility is to have an answer, to know exactly what the problem is, or whether there is no problem. Like I said, the unfortunate thing is, people do 1 or 2 tests and then go away for the next 6 months, sometimes due to the fault of the hospital. The doctor you saw today would say, go and do a scan. He will give you an appointment for 2 weeks. The next time you come, it's another doctor. He will say, you need your hormone. And people just get frustrated and tired. So what you need is an answer. What is the problem? And if there is no problem, what is the solution? Once you have an answer, you would know exactly which way to go. Now, the second thing is, by the time you check those 5 things, then the advice the doctor will give will be either you continue trying naturally or whether you now need an assisted conception. And there are some things that you will see in those 5 things that might just point directly into assisted conception. For example, if you did all those tests and it was found that the 2 tubes are blocked, then there's no need wasting time. What one needs is, I'm just using that as an example. Let's say somebody went through the 5 tests and it was found that the 2 tubes are blocked. There's no other story. What you need is IVF. Because that's what IVF was discovered for people who have blocked tubes. Again, if you've been trying for so many years naturally and it's not happening, and age is piling up, you might look at it, the doctor might decide and say, look, we shouldn't just continue in this same route. We should look in the direction of an assisted conception. Assisted conception doesn't have to be IVF. You have what we call IUI. But the important thing is to know which is which. So the advice I will give now is that you need to have those 5 things checked out as quickly as possible and get an answer within a week. Then you would have had an informed, then you can now make an informed choice on which way you want to go. I think that's the best way to go about it. Yeah. So, yeah, let me quickly talk about that. Now, just like I've been saying all along, as we grow older, the quality and the quantity of the egg tends to drop. But there are you will see that I'm not being judgmental here now, okay? When you go through those 5 tests or the 6 tests that I mentioned, the first one is a vaginal scan. The scan is going to check the whole of your pelvis. It will check your womb, whether there's a fibroid there or not, whether there's a polyp there or not. The second test is a swab test. It will check and be sure there are no infection in the passageway. And if there's anything, they treat it off. Now for you, The third test is very important. It's your blood hormone test plus your AMH. Blood hormone test plus your AMH. The blood hormone test and AMH is going to tell us about your ovarian reserve. It will tell us about how much egg is still in the ovary. So that is a very key test. I've seen women who are 22 years old and their AMH is very low, telling us straight away that they don't have much egg reserve. And I've seen women at 45 who have high AMH reserve. So it is only after you've done all those tests that a decision can be made in terms of whether you need a donor egg or not a donor egg. But with all those investigations, like I said, you'll be able to make an informed choice, because everything will be on the table and the statistics will be laid out easily. But I think what you need first is those investigations as quickly as possible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so we have far overrun our time, but online we have a lot of questions coming in, and we will just take a few of it before we start wrapping up here. Okay, so I have this question. Someone is asking, I had a myomectomy done sometime last year. Post-op, my flow was still kind of heavy, even though I had done a scan and I am fully clear of fibroids. During my last period, I took tranexamic acid and the flow was very minimal. However, I noticed that I didn't see the egg white discharge that signifies ovulation following the ovulation period. Should I be worried?
The most important thing is that I don't really know how old the patient is. Because fibroid normally distorts the womb. Even after removing the fibroid, sometimes because the endometrial line the surface area is expanded. So there's sometimes too, there will still be evidence of heavy bleeding. But after some time, when the womb begins to shrink, the thing disappears. Now, the issue of egg white and not egg white is a bit subjective. You cannot use that one exactly to establish whether a woman is ovulating or not. Okay? And the true test of ovulation is, most of the time, is pregnancy, if you want to really establish it. But you should not be worried about whether egg white or not egg white. The most important thing is that if she gets married, let her get pregnant. If she's not getting pregnant, let her see us.
Very straightforward. And then someone asks, does premature menopause constitute any health hazard to a woman who experiences it?
Yes. Now, the reason why I said yes is, generally speaking, when a woman reaches menopause, the real menopause, age 50, there are certain things that happen in their body. Their estrogen level. Estrogen is the female hormone. That's the hormone that has been supporting a woman all her life. It drops drastically. And once it drops drastically, it affects different organs of the body. If, for example, the woman does not have a hormone replacement therapy, the bones of the woman becomes more brittle. They might suffer from osteoporosis. They are more prone to heart problem because estrogen has something to do with maintaining their heart health. More prone to depression, all the things that go on with menopause, hot flushes, insomnia, depression, and the rest. Even the skin of the body starts shrinking and whatnot, poor sex life, painful sex, and the rest. So all those things that happen at age 50 and above in premature menopause, it can happen at an earlier stage of their life. Imagine a woman going through that from age 35 upwards for the next many years. So in such women that have premature menopause, we usually advise a form of hormone replacement therapy for them to counteract all those things. A lot of women who have achieved menopause as well, we do sometimes advise on hormone replacement therapy as well.
Wow. Okay, very, very, very insightful. I take this last one online and then one final reading, right? And that will be it. Okay, so she asked, my question is, as we grow older, fertility reviews, would you advise a lady at 40 and unmarried to preserve her eggs until she's ready to get married?
So that brings us to fertility preservation as well. Because of the fact that we already know that as a woman grows older, the fertility decreases. So a lot of women abroad and in Nigeria right now as well, who have or who are delaying settlement to settle because of career and different things, they come and they say they want to preserve their fertility. They want to freeze their eggs for the time when they will need it later in life. If you are going to do egg preservation, we usually advise that it should be done at certain age, maybe by age 30 to 37. The thing with egg preservation is, if you preserve your egg at age 30, for example, some women know that I'm going to get married at 35. They know it already, you know. So if you preserve your egg at age 30, and for whatever reason you don't settle down in time, maybe the right partner didn't come, and you are 40, that egg will still behave. When you are 40, that egg is still behaving like a 30-year-old egg. And it's still going to give you the kind of success story that a 30-year-old egg gives. Let me give you another example. If a 60-year-old woman comes to the fertility clinic and says, I want to get pregnant, I want to have a baby, and you do all the tests and you realize that they don't have eggs again, and the 60-year-old woman decides that she was ready to use a donor egg who is age 30, and she asks you, what are the chances of success? We will straight away tell the woman that at the first IVF attempt, you have a 60 to 80% chance of success, because the success rate of IVF using an own egg is dependent on the age of the egg. A 30-year-old using her own egg has a success rate of 60 to 80%, first attempt. A 35-year-old using her own egg has a success rate of like 50%. It has dropped slightly. By 40, there's a dramatic drop using your own egg. It comes to 25%. Still 1 in 4 chance, you know. By 45, it's dropped even further, 10 to 15%, using your own egg. By age 50, more or less 0%, because there's no egg there again. So if a 50-year-old comes and says, I want to use a donor egg of a 30-year-old, what are my chances? 60 to 80 straight away. So you will see that the age of the woman is the age of the egg. You can be 60 and feel 30 years old, but your egg is still 60 years old. That's the way it works here.
Wow, that's another eye-opener there. Okay, our final question for today, and we'll wrap it up.
Okay, I waited 6 years before I started having kids. And within those 6 years, I was seeing my period every month, 5 days max. And then I was also on fertility drugs. Pre-ovulation, ovulation, post-ovulation scans, as you call it. But then kids were not coming. I did all the mentioned exercises that I should have, SSG and the rest of it. But thank God the 6th year it came. But you said an ovulation or something. If I was seeing my period every month and for 5 days, what hindered me then? Then secondly, I wasn't on a fat side. I'm not a fat eater. But then I discovered after some years, my periods come too heavy. And they said maybe as a result of the fertility drugs I took for a long time. Then at that time too, there was something they said I was producing milk, but I wasn't getting pregnant. And at a point, I was even praying and telling doctor, if it can even enter and come out, let people see that I got pregnant. I was even praying for that. Then the trauma of having to even take water every time you see pregnant women sit all around you and you are going to do pre, post, and all that scan. The trauma was also getting me down because I wasn't a water, I was a sweet person then. Then, now that I'm older, my period ceases for like 3 months, then it comes again and it comes for 10 days. Is it as a result of the fertility drugs I took earlier, or what is the issue? Then this last one is a bit funny. Mama is a boy. And with the current economic situation, I see many families or women trying to get that male child. And because of that, they end up having 5, 6, 7, even 8. I see them in the church. What is your profession doing to help African women, Nigerian women, to at least help themselves out of this hard economic situation because they want mama is a boy?
Okay. Thank you. The last question, the one that has to do with mama is a boy, I'll leave that to Dr. Ede-Edokpolor to answer. But you did mention that you were seeing your period regularly in those years, and yet it was an ovulation problem. Now, what I said was, it's unlikely if you see a woman who is having a regular period every month, it is unlikely her problem is ovulation problem, that she's not ovulating. Unlikely, not that it can't be. Then you mentioned something else about milk from the breast. So that clinched it. What you just described there was what we call hyperprolactinemia. It causes an ovulation. That is, you won't see your ovulation. So that's a cause of people not ovulating as well. So apart from seeing your period regularly, if you have hyperprolactinemia, you might not again see your period. I don't know what the other question is. Then you said something about weight and fertility. Now, when we talk about weight and fertility, we are very specific about body mass index. You can be a 6-footer and your weight is maybe 80. And when you check your body mass index, it will be less than 30. I'm just using that as an example. And you might have another person who is still 70 kilograms and is 4 foot. For the 4 foot person, that is overweight. That's obesity in terms of body mass index. So we talk more specifically on body mass index. Everybody should know their body mass index. It should be less than 30, ideally. But even if it's going to be above 30, let it be less than 35. Anything above 35 is excess weight, is obesity, and it can cause so many hormonal abnormalities. I'll leave the mama is a boy for Dr. Ede-Edokpolor.
So a very good time to round up. So the issue of BMI, body mass index, is very important when it comes to ovulation. The people that are a bit on the big side, I won't say obese, they tend to have a lot of high level of androgens, and they also have impaired insulin, the way glucose control. So this indirectly affects ovulation. That's why we tell, when you come around, we say, oh, please try and trim down a bit. Only 10% drop in weight, somebody can conceive spontaneously if we don't do anything. Now, the issue of mama is a boy, I think it's more of a culture. Culture, we place so much value on me, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I just think that there's not anybody can tell it to you. Everybody is responsible for this responsibility. In your church, ladies, if you treat a woman well, with a lot of respect, okay, with a lot of honor. Not, we're a bit, we despise, I don't know how I'm going to put it. In our culture, that's why you can see an Oba marrying 15 wives. You don't have respect for women. You don't have respect. That's why you can have a man having a side chick. You don't have respect for women. You don't. When I look around, I say it's very painful. So that is what I'm trying to say. So if you can, if all of us have to go back to our churches, our mosque, our environment, so that we can begin to educate people. You don't really need plenty children. Or you don't really need plenty children. When you get to a level, like 2, 3, that's why some people will struggle. I had one of a friend, I call my patient my friend. There was a man that was looking for a boy. He has like 5 daughters. Another man went to go and put her daughter there, position her for a boy. They were now calling me for PGT. And I told him that I started preaching to the person actually so that he can give life to Christ. That his daughter should go and look for another person to marry. So what I'm trying to say is that it's more of an advocacy. Everybody has to talk about it. First of all, have respect for women. Take women seriously. Don't be too aggressive. They should be able to do their right. In your home, in your house, women should be respected. I think if we're able to do that, people will begin to add value and begin to respect women. So they will not be too curious. I had a patient looking for a baby boy, and she died in the process after 4 years. They could not. The addiction was so bad that they could not get that baby out. And he had this years. The boy that he gave birth to, she was not alive to take care of the baby. So sometimes, so we are so desperate, and the men put so much pressure that we must get this boy by all means. Pikin, na pikin. When the time come, you no go carry any pikin go heaven.
On that note, we end the Q&A for today's session. Please, a round of applause for our speakers. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma. You can return to your seat now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How has it been? Are you happy you're here? Our online participants, I hope you are happy. I hope you've learned a thing or two. It has been such an insightful and eye-opening session, and we've all learned. And on this note, okay, hold on a second. On this note, I would like for you to join me in welcoming the Executive Director of WIMBIZ, Omowumi Akingbohungbe. I mean, that applause can be louder and louder. To give the closing remark, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidi. Wow. Wow. Right? Please help me celebrate our speakers and, of course, Chidi for doing an amazing job so far. Thank you very, very much. I mean, I know there are lots of questions on our minds, and even for those online. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. The contacts for St. Ives has been widely distributed. There's also the TeleDoc app that you can also reach out to. And, of course, we have our wellness coach, too. If you need to engage further, I'm sure she's also on LinkedIn. You can connect with her and engage further. Well, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the executive management team at WIMBIZ, I want to say thank you to everyone here, on site and online, for creating the time to be with us today. Thank you very much. But of course, I must also say a big thank you to St. Ives for partnering with us and sponsoring this. It's been very insightful. Thank you very, very much for all that you do. I have a couple of announcements so that we can then call it a day. First of all, if you're a WIMBIZ associate here, can you please raise up your hand? An associate and life member. Hi, people. Would love to take a group picture before you leave. But if you're not a member, this is the time for you to sign up. There's a whole lot
that is always ongoing. Our mission remains to help women attain leadership positions. And of course, we know there are also the soft side that would always affect this fulfillment of our life journey. And that's why we have this kind of session ongoing right now. We have a lot of program lined up for the year, but the ones that are pretty close right now, there's a webinar for women in law coming up next week on the 25th of February. Even if you're not in law and you know someone that is, this is the time to spread the word and let them be a part of it. It promises to also be very insightful. It's online and you can join anywhere you are across the world. We have our Lagos Roundtable for the month of March. Please clap for WIMBIZ. And on that, we'll be talking about housing issues. I know everybody here, we want to have our own house now and live in our house. And at the same time, we also want to explore investment opportunities. So you definitely want to be a part of that. It's a hybrid program like this one. So you have the opportunity to be there physically or online. But of course, if you want to be there physically, you have to register on time to get a slot. Our WIMBIZ mentoring program registration is still ongoing. Please sign up for that too. It's always a mind-blowing, life-changing experience. You can also help us by spreading the word for others to know about it and be part of it. If you're a senior executive woman and you're interested in being on board positions, or you just want to refresh your knowledge when it comes to boardroom dynamics, you should sign up for the WIMBIZ mentoring program, where you will be paired with veterans in that space, and at the same time, there are group learning sessions that will put you through boardroom dynamics. It's always a life-changing experience too. We're global, we're everywhere. We have our London conference, the 3rd edition, coming up June 14. Please clap for WIMBIZ again. So save the date, and you can also visit our website for registration and to be a part of that. You have the option of dialing in virtually too if you would want to, if you're not able to join us in London. But if you would want to know more about our programs and all that, there's the programs at wimbiz.org that you can send an email to. You also have our roundtable email on the banner here, where you can always send information. Like I mentioned, if you have more questions concerning your reproductive health, or you know anyone that will probably need to get some support, consultation, some tests, you can definitely reach out to St. Ives Hospital or connect with their TeleDoc app. It's on Instagram too, and you can always get all the necessary support that you need. On that note, I want to say a big thank you once again, St. Ives, as well as everyone that has been here today. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, and we look forward to more connections and collaborations. Thank you very much. Okay, you can also scan the barcode. It's displayed on the screen. Thank you. Can the WIMBIZ associates come forward for a group picture? Did you come to take a picture? Okay. The speakers, Ms. Opaleye, Doctor, please come forward for a picture. Group picture. This way, please. You might need to let go for a group picture.
Tetema.